Hey guys, what's up? Master Harris here. Super excited. If you're watching this video, it means you have been nominated for the leadership program and you've probably scheduled your appointment to come in and talk about it. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about the leadership program. Everybody in our program starts in the beginners, right? 80% of our students eventually make it to the leadership program. Now, the other 20% have either decided that martial arts wasn't for them, or possibly that we've seen that maybe we're not the right fit for what they're looking for. So if you've been selected into the leadership program, we selected you based on things we saw about you. It's not just about kicking, punching, and all the technique. It's about, are you growing here and in here? Are you getting more focused? Are you getting more disciplined? Are you getting more structured? Are you, for some students, earning those gold stars, for some students earning those green stars? When you first came in and said, these are the things I want from the program, whether it be for myself, or these are the things I want from the program and it be for my child, whichever one of those it was, we're looking to see if we have growth in those areas. When we start seeing growth in those areas, and we say, oh, now you're focused on this one, we know you can go into the leadership program, that's when you earn your invitation. So if you've gotten your invitation, we feel, as experienced martial artists, remember, we've been doing martial arts, we've been teaching martial arts for over 24 years. So we know if your child is ready to go into the leadership program. You know, trust me, a lot of times we might look at our own children and be like, oh, you know, he's still doing this or she's still doing that. Of course they are. But we look at the overall growth. We don't look at the one or two mistakes that we see on the floor. We look at the overall growth, and are you ready to make that jump? So let me tell you a little bit about the leadership program. Once you're nominated, you'll have a conference. The conference will briefly go over the things we're going here, and then make sure you have all the things that you need. I mean, we're gonna need the breaking board. We're gonna need to make sure we have all the things for the classes, all the equipment. And we're going to talk about all the different things we can earn in the leadership program. Like, for example, you can start doing weapons like your SCREMA certification or a bow staff certification. All the leadership students have to earn 12 patches. Let's pull out a couple here. We have the first one, which is like an emergency preparedness patch. Then we have a knowledge patch or a goal setting patch. A goal setting patch, right? There's 12 different patches that you have to earn to be able to get your black belt. Now the beginner program is all about foundation and discipline. The leadership program is really the meat and potatoes of our program. From green belt and on is our leadership program. So if you're a first degree, second degree, third, fourth degree black belt, you're in the leadership program. It's probably 100% more curriculum than when you were in the beginner program. Beginners typically can graduate every 8 to 10 weeks, no problem. Leadership students might not. It really is double the amount of curriculum. We also expect when you go into leadership program that you're gonna have a higher level of technique. You're gonna push yourself a little bit harder. You're gonna push yourself a little bit stronger and hold yourself to a higher standard because we are now holding you to a higher standard. There's 24 character words that we teach in our curriculum. You probably hear them at the beginning of every class. We're talking about the definition of the character words and we're telling stories around that. Well, we expect our leadership students, when we're talking about these, to hear the message and be able to go home. And if you're a child, be able to talk to your parents about this. If you're an adult, we want you to put that into your head and say, okay, this is the word. How can I use this in my life at a higher level? I already know this, but how do I use it at a much higher level than I already do? In the leadership program, compared to the beginner program self-defenses are all escapes. Somebody grabs your wrist, you get away. Well, the leadership program is when you can't get away. When I can't get away, what do I do next? So like, for example, somebody throws a hook punch where you block and you catch the hand, you give 3 elbow strikes, 3 knee strikes. The same side breakaway, you know, live hand, palm down, step in, elbow to elbow. Well, now I'm going to grab their wrist and follow it up with 3 back elbow strikes, right? So the self-defense is now going from get away to I can't get away. What do I do in this situation? The leadership students start learning leadership. They learn important things. So they're going to get what we call tier 1 of the instructor program. how to communicate to people, how to talk to people, how to look people in the eye when you're talking to them, how to shake somebody's hand, how to respond to a question, to like all the things you need to take your first level of becoming a leader. We're also going to teach them that leaders can lead from the front, the middle, or the back. Like you can be a leader anywhere. In the classes, you're going to start boxing drills and kickboxing drills. Now, honestly, this is where a lot of parents really get engaged. In the beginning, they're like, well, I can't do these things. I don't know how to teach this technique or that technique. But now, when you're at home and you know the punch is coming, they have to bob and weave and counter. Parents are like, oh, you mean I can actually start doing some of this stuff with them. So you're going to get the kickboxing and the boxing program. That's right in the leadership. You're going to get that every single class. You still get unlimited classes. Now, the beginner programs are about 40 minutes long. Now, it's a different 40 minutes. In the beginner program, we're redirecting, like who's on their stripe, who's standing still, who's not spinning in circles. We're saying that kind of stuff. We never say that in the beginner program because you can only be invited. We never say those things in the leadership program because you can't be invited to the leadership program if you can't focus and have that discipline. Now, every once in a while, does somebody slip up or have a bad class? Of course, but instead of redirecting every time and hoping you hear us, we just look at you and we're like, get on point. We know, like we give them the look and like, oh, he's talking to me. As opposed to in the beginner program, it's like, oh, eventually you're going to listen to us. No, we're going to let you know right off the bat, we need you to get to this position and you're going to know by the look we're giving you. They're going to start forms. You've probably seen at graduations, these guys are doing these choreographed moves. They're going to start forms. Forms is probably the most traditional piece of martial arts that we teach. And we don't just teach forms to get you to memorize something. We're actually teaching forms and we're teaching the history behind it and what the application is. And yes, some of the students are young, but we want them to know that too so they can have a deeper appreciation for what they're really learning. The leadership students now get an opportunity to train with weapons. The 3 weapons that we teach in the under Black Belt Leadership Program is the Eskrima stick, the training knife, and the nunchucks, right? Who doesn't like nunchucks? Everybody wants to be Bruce Lee, right? With that, depending on the location you're in, a lot of our locations have something called skills class. It's an aerial stunts gymnastics class. So you get an opportunity to come and do the aerial stunts in the gymnastics classes. They're very beginner level and go up to intermediate. We do have higher level programs that we do offer that in, just not in the leadership program because we have some students that are flipping and tricking and back flips, front flips, side flips. That's a whole different skills that we teach outside of leadership. The leadership classes are 50 minutes, so it's a true 50 minutes. You're really getting 50 minutes of instruction. The students will start to break boards, right? So everybody has a re-breakable board, so you'll break the boards when you come to class. The kicking combinations, much different. The leadership classes, when in the beginner classes, you're always on your stripe or in your square, you're in your zone. We don't move around a lot. In the leadership program, we're moving around. We're on the bags, we're using all the equipment. We may be going up and down the room. We're doing stuff with partners. And eventually the students will get into sparring, right? So sparring is what I call tag. You're not out there really hitting each other super hard, but you're out there playing tag. Oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. It's taking the skills that we're doing in the class and making it practical application. The leadership program is what's really going to give you all the tools you've been looking for. Every student in the beginner program grows, right? Their focus, their discipline, their family values, everything that martial arts says. We have just so much growth in the beginner program. But the leadership program, when students jump into the leadership program, we see almost 5 times the speed of the growth. I can think in the last 2 years, we probably had 20 or 30 students that maybe the beginner class, they're still a little bit silly, but they've really come a long ways. And we were going to invite them to the leadership program. And the parents were like, well, I don't know if, excuse me, I don't know if they're ready or I don't know. Well, guess what? We put them in the leadership program and they were more focused than ever before because the standard in that class is higher. When they come into a leadership class, everybody in that class is already focused and already disciplined, right? So now we can learn even faster than before, right? So in a nutshell, guys, that's your leadership program. Much more curriculum, higher expectations, Invitation only. If we invited you, we know you're ready for it. It is really where you're going to take off as a martial artist and take your next steps to black belt. Can't wait to see you in your first leadership class.